Someone just used a slider, and it wasn't Mr. Kracker. The sandy path was steep and treacherous, but today Mr. Fowler was determined to find what he'd been looking for. The sun was just about to set when Fowler finally found it. He'd almost missed it, but there in the Sandcliffs was a dark hole. Finally, he said, and ran to meet the cave's open mouth. Coming in for a landing. Those wind currents coming up from the Sandcliffs sure are powerful. Sometimes I wonder if I'm gonna crash land or not. Oops, that was a pretty rough landing. Well, I'm back. LJ here, your eye in the sky. Just out scouting the cliffs for Mr. Kracker, and I thought I'd take a rest on this nice ponderosa pine here. So far I haven't seen hide nor hair of Mr. Fowler, but I'm not giving up. I know he's around here somewhere. I also had a chance to check on the stabilizer for the cliffs, and it seems to be doing its job real well. Still humming away. Anyway, I'm back to work, so we'll see you guys later. It was dusk by the time Fowler arrived at the cave entrance that the shifting sands had revealed. As Fowler looked around the entrance, he spotted a torch. "This'll come in handy," he says. A few strikes with his flint and steel, and the torch burst into flame. And after he was sure everything was safe, he entered the cave. He could hear water rushing up ahead, and the moist walls glimmered in the torchlight as Mr. Fowler descended into the depths. He continued down the corridor, avoiding the cave's sharp surface. There were strange markings on the wall, markings of ages past. Markings were unknown to Mr. Fowler, so he walked on by. The absolute splendor of this cave was overpowering for Fowler. He passed through a subterranean forest, only to find a cascading waterfall. His torchlight flickered off the cool blue water and ice-caked rocks. Fowler's torch struggled to keep burning as the giant falls sprayed his face with an ice-cold mist. It was hard to keep balance as the wind from the falls pushed him back. There were many interesting stones along the path. Fowler placed a few of them in his tunic. He inched his way slowly back down the icy surface, being careful not to slip. A natural fountain bubbles up from the depths, and strange stone-cut carvings line the walls. He enters a large cavern. He leans over a small pond and watches fish as they scurry about. Hello! Hello! Mr. Fowler was mesmerized by this cave and wanted to explore more, but his torch was burning low. Numbers and letters. Now that's something Fowler understood. As he touched the wall, they disappeared. Over on the left side of the wall, 2 fish were embedded in the stone. What could this mean? He thought to himself. 8R, 3E, 7H. Puzzled, he didn't have time to figure it out. His torch was burning out quick, so he decided it was time to leave the cave. Within feet to the exit of the cave, his torch went out. That was close, he said, as he placed his torch back against the wall. After camping out at the cave entrance, Mr. Fowler left the next morning for home. It had been a long day for Mr. Fowler. He'd explored that cave as much as he could. But something tells me he'll be back for more. Meanwhile, in Forestland, near Mr. Kracker's cabin, LJ pays a visit to Mr. Kracker. Hey LJ, nice of you to stop by. Well, I got some important news from the Sandcliffs. Oh, what's that? Well, I saw Mr. Fowler, and he's discovered the cave. You mean the cave with the diamonds? That's the one. I know we've been trying to keep it a secret, but the sliders have moved the sands and revealed the cave's entrance, and now Mr. Fowler is able to find it. Well, that's not very good news, LJ. We're going to have to keep a closer eye on Fowler. What can I do to help? Just keep doing what you're best at. Keep an eye on Fowler and report back to me. Will do, Mr. Kracker. We'll see you later. And I'll see you in the next episode of Krackertime. God bless. Thank you for sharing and subscribing.